nothing about it.
I don't know nothing about it.
I mean, you know.
What up, good people? Welcome to another episode of the 710 Slickville Show. I am your host, Jay Brown, a.k.a. Mr. 710. You see, joined once again by...
Your girl, Sway Kenyatta.
Oh, yeah. You know, the good people, Erica couldn't make it today, but it's all good. She's going to be in the chat room for anybody that's looking for her. She'll be in there. Shout out to everybody that's already in the chat room. Go ahead and share this feed if you hadn't already done it. Guys, you know this is an interactive show, so like, share, comment, call in. Yes. Phone number is going to be 470-251 is right down there, 4343. 470-251-4343. Like I said, we want to thank everybody who's watching via Status Network app, Amazon, Fire Stick, Roku, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Periscope, or however you are legally obtaining this footage. We'd like to go ahead and thank you for that. Just do it so that I can get some credit for y'all watching. And look, like I said, guys, share this feed. If you hadn't shared it, go ahead and share it with the people that got receding hairlines on your feed. Like, go ahead and do that for your boy. Well, look, on tonight's show.
All right.
You know, we got since last week. We're going to do this Marcus Skinner interview, this author. I've been knowing this guy for a long time. And then we also going to talk about male groupies. I hope he can hang around for that as well, because we didn't talk about that last week. But we're going to get to it this week. That's what I'm talking about. But since last week, how you been doing?
I've been good. How you been?
Been good. You have a good Easter and everything?
Man, I had a wonderful Easter. I had a great Easter. My church was, it was lit. Not because it was Easter. My church is lit every Sunday. But, yeah, it was a good program. Everyone was, involved, and it was really nice. It was really, really good.
You saw a whole bunch of new faces?
I saw a bunch of out-of-town guests.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Julian Brown said, what up, bro? And what up, new Sway?
What up? How you doing?
Let me look at this Sway. This look like it's probably about, that might be third date Sway. You never know. It's about third date Sway right there. Yeah, that's
I do it up for you on the third date.
Oh, God, okay.
If you make it to the third date.
You make it to the third date. Don't take it to the escape room. And you make it to the third date.
Yeah, because we ain't having another date if you take me to the escape room. No.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. And so, look, since last week, one thing I forgot to talk about is when I was in Phoenix coming back from Vegas, it was one of the stories. I hate shaking machines. I don't know.
Shake machines?
Yeah, I don't know why they always got to be clean. Either because
she can't use a shake machine, it's froze. I'm like, okay, well.
So what's up, Ms. Mocha? So I was talking to Nay on the phone, and I was like, baby, I'm going over here. I walked all the way from the stupid part of the airport all the way to another stupid part of the airport to get McDonald's because I knew they was going to have a shake. Let me get a chicken sandwich, let me get some fries, and let me get a medium strawberry shake. And Buddy behind the register was like, we ain't got no ice cream today. I was like, damn, fam. Like, hold on. Today? Like
Today. Ever.
It's 11 o'clock. It's 11:30, like 1 o'clock. It was still early. And they was like, yeah, we ain't got no ice cream. So I don't even know if it was down for maintenance. He just said they ain't got none. And so later on that week.
That's how he said it though, ain't got none.
We ain't got no ice cream. We don't have no ice cream today is how he said it. And so then, I think it might have been Wednesday this week. I was still having that taste for a shake. I had just left the bowling alley. I was like, let me stop by McDonald's on the way home. It's probably about 1:30.
It needed to be clean.
Hey, so let me get 2 chicken sandwiches. No, I just want to get 2 chicken sandwiches and a strawberry shake. Shake machine's down for cleaning. Damn, already? Like it's
what time
1:30.
Was it? It's 1:30 in the afternoon?
It's 1:30 in the afternoon.
It's probably been down for a few days.
Like, you should still be serving lunch at this time.
It's been down for a few days.
But then so I was like, you know what? I still want this shake, so I'm going to take my 2 chicken sandwiches, and then I'm going to go across the street to Burger King. Mm-hmm. Hey, so let me just get a medium strawberry shake. Mm-hmm. Our shake machine is down for maintenance.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
What? Y'all's too? Like, are y'all in this together? Like, y'all are conspiring against me. So
well, you should have went when you want a shake. The only fast food restaurant you should go to is Sonic.
Sonic or Dairy Queen, because they
That's
never
it.
clean their machines.
That,
I'm just kidding.
I have
I'm
no
just
parts
kidding.
in that Dairy
But
Queen.
I'm trying to figure out why they don't ever have to.
Because they're
down for
always
maintenance.
up on maintenance. That's why. So they never have to clean it because they're always up on maintenance. So they clean it at the end of the shift, at the end of the night when they close. It's not a 24-hour establishment. So, yeah, they're always, because that's their line of business. You can't go to McDonald's and they say, I'm out of fries, I'm out of burgers. That's their line of business. So they're never going to run out of that. But it's, I don't think about McDonald's or Burger King when I think about a shake. I think about Sonic or Dairy Queen.
Hey, look.
So, yeah.
It's something that's keeping their machines up and not up, or however you do it, and that part kind of made me angry. Like, even Miss Mocha said, McDonald's get on my nerves telling them lies, those vicious lies.
Ooh, she really upset with them.
Vicious lies in regards to their shake machine. I just saw a head in the window. It made me a little nervous. Also, what's up, Sharon Turner? Also, this past week, I took number 3 to a doctor's appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
okay,
Lil Mama, and Lil Mama she was not with the nonsense at all.
I don't blame her.
She don't like strangers at all. She don't like new people. I don't care how nice you are to her.
She ain't with it.
She was not with none of it.
Like, I like her already.
She didn't like the woman when she came to listen to her heart. You listen to it on the front because I can see it, I can touch it. You put it on my back, we got a problem. And I'm talking about she started crying. I'm talking about she was hitting at the lady, and I was like, hold on, slow down. And when I tell you, like, I like her as a kid because I don't like kids that's too nice. What? Especially little girls. I don't like little girls that's too nice.
Okay.
I want the little girls to have a boundary. Like, don't touch me.
Okay.
And she was about that. Like, the doctor grabbed her stomach after listening to her ear, and she was like, hold on, and started crying. Like, no, I know what this is. She had a real attitude. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what you're talking about, yeah. Don't let nobody, stranger danger.
Yeah, if I was to have a daughter, I was going to make sure that she was me. I was making sure that she was me. Because that part right there, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But yeah, on tonight's show, like I said, I'm excited about this. I
am too.
I'm excited about this Marcus Dwayne interview.
I am too.
We still got him on because we are ready. We are ready for this. And then, like I said, we're gonna talk about male groupies.
Male groupies.
Hey. Hey.
We got him on.
There you go.
There he is.
Well, look, let me go ahead and introduce y'all. This was my very first guest when I first started this show. Like I said, I've been knowing this cat for 10 years now. But hailing from St. Louis, and he remains one of the 14 people that does not add 4 R's to every word that ends in R. He's a singer. He plays about 5 instruments, including the piccolo and the harp. He's a relationship expert, father, part-time entrepreneur, and the author of The 4 Laws of Attracting the Perfect Relationship. I bring to you Marcus Dwayne Skinner. What's going on, brother? I don't even know if he heard any of that because he got a look on his face.
It's a delay.
Can you hear me, Mark? Not at all. It's okay. It got a mic. I'm gonna just go ahead and start roasting him, and then he'll be able to hear. Are you muted, brother? Okay. But while we figure that out,
I think he's.
You got your microphone muted?
See, we can't hear him. He just said something. Oh, he can't.
You can't hear me.
We can't hear each other.
Go out and then come back. Close down and then come back. There we go. Oh, let me see. Go out and come back. All right.
I think he got it. He's closing out now.
Yeah, you see that hand. Anyway, but yeah.
We're gonna get this up in just a second.
Listen, when I tell you, I can go just start talking about these kids while we wait on him. Why both of them get in trouble today?
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I hate stories that kids tell me when they get in trouble.
Because it's not gonna be all the way accurate.
They're usually real
It's
dumb.
not.
All right, so yeah.
Hello.
So you missed that whole intro,
Hey.
but it's all good.
No, I kind of heard the intro on Facebook. I'm kind of following on both platforms, so that way, in case we got disconnected.
All right, there we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been knowing Mark about 10 years, man. We met in Memphis while he was doing a set. He was doing this set. 'Cause like I said, he sing.
Oh, he sings too. Okay.
Yeah, he was singing in front of a bunch of women with gold teeth and a whole bunch of dudes with pastel colors on. Like, they dusted off those same suits and wore them yesterday.
For Easter.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of Easter suits up in this thing. Well, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm blessed. No problems at all at this point. What about yourself?
Hey, man, you know what? I'm good, man. Despite it all, I'm always good. I'm always good. But yeah, so look, the author of The 4 Laws of Attracting the Perfect Relationship just got placed in Barnes and Nobles. You can get it from Barnes and Nobles nowadays.
Congratulations.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Hey, man.
Okay.
So tell us about this book, because we got a lot of questions about relationships. We talk about that topic a lot on this show.
Well, one of the reasons why I wrote the book was, like I said, I'm in the psychology field, so I do counsel. And I ran into a lot of couples, and one of the things I started noticing was a trend of people trying to follow traditions of, basically what mom did, what dad did, what the grandparents did, but it didn't necessarily work for them in this time frame and in this age. Right. And it was a lot of things that I noticed that people just jump in from relationship to relationship and never really take that time to heal. Right. So really, the 4 laws is not necessarily about other people. It's all internal. It's about finding who you are, healing from things that you may have gone through, understanding the things that you like about in life, and just going from there and connecting with people that are on the same path that you are.
Okay, so that was your inspiration. How long did it take you to write it?
Ooh, that was over the course of, I would say, almost 8 years. Oh. And when I ended up, and like the book was originally like 314 pages, and I just shortened it down because one of the things I was talking to someone who actually writes books, and he was just like, man, it's a great work, but it's too long. Like people's attention spans aren't as, long as they used to be. Get straight to the point, tell the people the things that they need to hear, still have the allegory in it for things that they need to maybe come back and research and read again. And yeah, it was pretty much over the course of 8 years, because I interviewed people. Like I would go out and interview like older couples and younger couples and just ask people, like, what is it that you look for in a relationship, or what's important? And once I really started kind of getting down to the nitty gritty of things, people were really looking for someone that they could be themselves with, but the problem is a lot of people don't know themselves. They just jump into relationships because you've been trained to do so since you were a kid. Like we watch Disney movies, we grew up watching those. Everybody's in a relationship. Cinderella has Prince Charming and all of these other things. So nobody's really taught to be an individual first before actually getting into a relationship. So
as far as those answers that you got when you asked people what they were looking for, like I'm pretty sure like it would range. If you ask an older couple what they were looking for, and then you ask maybe somebody like what she was looking for, I'm sure it'd be totally different. So
not really, because like I said, traditions, like people follow traditions. It's just like if your grandmama said, "Oh, this is the way that you get a man. You do this, that, and the other." Of course, like I said, things change because the times have changed, but the reality is people still want those key essentials in relationships. A woman wants to feel provided for and protected, and men want to feel appreciated. And that's what it really boils down to.
Oh, man. Grandmother used to tell you can find you a mate at church. Sway was at church yesterday.
Yes, I was at church yesterday. I was not looking for a man at church. I was at church.
Okay.
Did she say,
I said,
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's just like, oh, okay.
She like,
I was at church.
You was there for Jesus, not
Exactly,
the only
not
man
for
that
a
matters.
man. How can I listen to the word if I'm looking around scouring for a husband?
Well,
ain't nothing wrong with that.
If it do holler at you at church, would you?
Oh my God, I feel so awkward. I had that happen before. I feel like.
Why would it be awkward though?
I don't know. I'm like, oh man, all the ladies at the church were. It's just it was awkward. It was awkward.
He asked you why.
He asked me. I don't know. I guess because the setting that it was, and this was in church back home. So it wasn't like in the Atlanta church I go to. It was back home.
I don't understand the difference.
And it's just the church I went to back home was like an old school church. Probably the ladies that you're talking about that for what that you would ask what they're looking for in a man from back then. It's just a lot of big mamas at my church. It was just awkward. Awkward. Yeah. So I had to kind of just nod and be like, let's go over here to the side.
I mean, but Cleophas, he was probably a good dude though.
Say that again.
I said Cleophas was probably a good dude, though.
Wow. You must know him from Alabama.
Hey.
Wow.
Yeah, he watched the show?
Wow. Oh, okay. So you know him from Alabama. Okay. Yeah.
My people from Alabama, too, so.
Shout out to Alabama. Okay. See what I'm talking about? Don't do it. It's many good people from Alabama. You got two.
He wasn't born there. I mean,
it doesn't matter. He got some roots there. He got some family there. It's there. Trust me.
It's like 4 cousins.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's about it.
Wow.
Okay, so what is the reception been to the book so far?
It's actually been great. The funny part about it was when I put it out, honestly, it was one of those things like, I'm just going to put it out there, see how it responds. But a lot of people have been, once they've read the book, they read it one time like, oh yeah, it was cool. But then they go back and read it again after they go through something. And then they start to realize that, in order for them to break a lot of cycles in their lives, they have to be a reflection of everything that they desire. And that's one of the key messages, that I try to, give to people. It's like, it's not anybody else but you. If you want something to change in your life, you have to be the change. And it's great because a lot of people have been inspired by it. So I think that was the real thing that I was reaching out for at that point.
Oh, that's what's up. And so you mentioned finding self-love and when it comes to finding a perfect relationship, I can imagine how that could be hard for a lot of people because a lot of people aren't that introspective when it comes to how does that book help people look with.
So that's the thing that people think that when I'm talking about the perfect relationship, I'm not talking about anyone else. Everything's internal, because think about it. There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. There's no such thing as a perfect person. So in order for you to have a perfect relationship, you just have to find yourself, find out what you enjoy, just find out who you are. Right. I just think that most of us really just don't know. I'll give you a perfect example. I was talking to a young lady the other day, and it was so funny. She was just like, yeah, I want a man that can do this, that wants to do this. He has to have a degree. I mean, don't get me wrong. She was educated. She was making about $70,000, $80,000 a year. I mean, she has a pretty decent job. Now, I said, all those things on your list, who's the person? What do you mean? I said, you have to date the person, not the list, because a person can meet all the qualifications on the list. But the reality is you're not dating the person. Right. You're dating a list of things that you put out there. Right. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of us don't find, true love, because we're trying to date a vision of a person and not the actual person, and it's just like you can meet that person and meet all those qualifications, but then you end up being bored. Why? Because they got their finances together. Yeah, they have a degree. Yeah, they know how to treat you right. But at the same time, there's no real connection in the relationship. There's no real love. It's just something that's for social media. Something that looks good on the outside, but it's dead on the inside. I talk to a lot of people and counsel a lot of people. I have friends who are in relationships, married, seem happy, but have other relationships outside of their marriage. Why? Because they dated that list and they didn't date the person,
Ooh, and watching that night.
Oh, it's okay. Like I said, I would never say names, but we've talked about this. I'm very raw whenever I, counsel someone and let them know, like, listen, this is not right. And the thing is, people are in love with the perception of how they look and not in love with who they really are. They like to look good on the outside. That's one of the biggest issues that we have in society today. Black, white, any color. Everyone wants to look good. Nobody wants to really show the downfalls. That's one of the reasons why social media is like it's becoming a really big problem. I mean, it's so many great things to social media, but you're comparing yourselves to people's highlight reels. And that's where we tend to be like, oh man, well, they doing this. I need to get myself together. And a lot of times those people are empty, they're bored. They really don't have anything to do. So we fall in love with the perception and not people,
Right. Do you think that keeps people from being or having a level of vulnerability that will allow them to actually get to know somebody and allow somebody to get to know them at the same time? Okay.
Of course. I mean, one of the biggest things about relationships, I think that, once you get older, when you get older, think about how you were when you were in your 20s. It's like, oh man, I like you. You fine, you cute, and you hook up. And you get about 30, something like, listen, well, I got shit to do. What's going on? Are we going to get together? We going to hook up, whatever. Now you start to be that authentic yourself, and honestly, that's who you need to be. I think too many people are trying to put on that representative in order to attract the person. And then when you get them, there's nothing left at that point because you put that representative out there. That's who they want. But then they haven't dated the true you yet. You keep looking at Kenyatta like, look, go ahead and say what you got to say.
I mean, I don't understand. I'm confused. I am. I'm confused.
How long do you show your representative before you let them see? Because she got different looks that she do on different dates.
Whoa. I don't have different. None of them are representatives, okay? I don't have a representative.
Because meet and greet.
But I just don't do it. I just believe that, because I do like to be authentic and because I have had self reflections. I've had good relationships and I've had bad relationships. I've had my heart broken. I've had a divorce. So I'm at that point, like you said, you get to a point where you are, you should anyway look in the mirror and kind of self-evaluate yourself and try to be the best authentic person that you can be. And that's the place that I am in my life. So with that being said, from what I understand from a lot of, different people out here dating, at the present time, I'm not dating, but from what I understand is, is that, a lot of people say that people are being, kind of fake or phony, on a first date and things of that nature. I just like to be comfortable and I want to be able to be myself. So what he's talking about is that I don't necessarily go on a first date the traditional way. I'm not necessarily, just all the way dressed up.
So what would you do for a first date? Let's talk about that.
Okay, let's talk about that. So for me, you can't wait to do this. So for me, a first date to me should be something very easy and comfortable for both individuals. It should, I'm not big on someone coming to my house, picking me up on the first date. I am, I have a bit of a, I'm a single woman out here in these streets, so I believe in being very, very safe. So my safety comes first. So I prefer to meet someone maybe at a coffee shop or Starbucks or, something very simple and neutral. So, okay, see the bell.
No, hold on. Easy now. Finish your thought.
So I prefer to meet someone on the first meeting. I wouldn't even necessarily say date. I'll say the first meeting just to see the energy, how things go, to see if they're really, 6 feet or was they lying and they was adding 2 inches to it, just things like that. So I don't necessarily like to just do the traditional first date. I just get all dolled up. You come to my house, you pick me up, now you know where I stay. I prefer to just have a simple meet up. And from most guys are good with that too, because, they care about their safety as well and things like that. So most guys are good with, hey, yeah, let's just meet up. Guys are tired of, meeting representatives and, spending all that money on the first date or whatever goes on in these streets on the first date. So most of the time, I don't get any kickback when I say, hey, can we just meet up, simple, plain clothes, Starbucks, call it a day. Most guys are really appreciative of that. So that's my typical first date. What about you, sir? What's your first date? Oh,
no, I'm actually agree with you on that 100%. One of the things that I always say when it comes to first dates is never make it too extravagant,
Thank you.
because a lot of times men try to leave with their wallets, so it's just like, hey, listen, let's go to Benihana's and do all this. What happens is when you go places like that, it's a lot of distractions as well. You have the people around you, you have, the cooks doing tricks and everything. You never really have that intimate conversation. So, something like a coffee shop, a tea shop, a picnic, something like that, where you can actually have more one-on-one time. So, no, I completely agree with you.
And a first date, I think, shouldn't go on in a place like an escape room. You're trying to read clues and trying to get out of the escape room. How can you have a conversation and get to know someone when you're trying to, think and get out of the escape room?
No, that's true. So I 100% agree with you there.
Thank you, Mr. Skinner.
You're more than welcome.
You said no dates. Three.
So, Mr. Skinner, are you in a relationship at the moment?
Yes, I am.
And how long have you been in a relationship?
We've been talking for a little while now. But officially, it's been about a month and a half, 2 months.
So how did you felt, obviously, if you're still talking to her, you felt that she was authentic, correct?
Oh, most definitely. Well, the biggest thing is with me, I'm a communicator. One of the things is I used to have that issue when I was younger. I didn't communicate a lot. So I talk about everything, and the biggest thing is I have to be 100% Marcus. If I can't be the goofball, if I can't be the serious person at the same time, just a mixture of everything. If they can't accept that for who I am, then you're just not the person for me.
Right.
So, just being myself has been the fact that I can be 100% authentically me around her.
Right.
That's what made everything, just flow for us. So.
All right. So Julian Brown said, what about if on the second date, he's not able to pick you up and he's just gonna meet you on this bus pass, or if y'all can share an Uber? That's what Julian asked. So you ain't gotta answer that. But two things that
No. Let's get into that because that's a good, actually interesting question.
Is it really an interesting question?
Yeah, it is, because some gentlemen. It's funny because I have a friend that lives in New York, so there's really not a need for him to have a vehicle.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I have another friend that lives in not the Atlanta area, but North Carolina, and he owns his business, so it's right around the corner from where he lives. He literally just walks there every day. Owns his own business, doesn't have a car, but a young lady turned him down for a date simply because he didn't have a vehicle. So would that be something that would be a red flag for you?
So would she have to pick him up on every single date, or he's going to Uber to her house and pick her up?
He owns his own business. He can more than likely Uber.
Oh, I understand he owns his own business, so I get that part.
It doesn't make a difference if it's just regular Uber or Uber XL?
So, these are silly questions, though. Marcus, okay. So I think that these line of questioning are absurd, but
don't do that.
Why is it absurd? This is a real life situation.
We're talking about being authentic, so we're not talking about if he
No, it
depends. Okay, so real talk, it depends on what are the circumstances that he doesn't have a car. Like you said, your friend lives in New York. I wouldn't have a car either if I lived in New York. There's no point, your car would be in your garage or whatever, a paid garage, the whole year. So it doesn't make sense to have a car in New York. Whereas we're talking about Carolina and Atlanta, you need a little transportation every now and then. So what you're saying is your friend, although his house and job are close by each other, I guess he just Ubers every single where he go. Walmart, the club, the church.
Well, it's funny because of the area that he lives in is everything's literally within walking distance from him.
Okay.
So he really doesn't need a vehicle.
Okay.
Like I said, the store is probably 4 or 5 blocks away. Plus he's a fitness guy anyway. So
I was just going to say he's a business guy, so he just sees more value. He's getting more value out of things and out of life, and having an automobile just isn't one of his values. So with that being said, if the energy and the chemistry is right, then I would go on a second date.
Oh, okay. Because question from the chat room: how early do you discuss your deal breakers? That's from Julian Brown.
That's a good question. How early?
Day one. Day one.
And that's what Erica would say, our co-host. She would say day one.
Yeah. Why not? Because this is what I'm talking about, being that representative. Why are you afraid to be yourself? Why are you afraid to talk about the things that you may have issues with? What's the point? If I can't say, hey, listen, one of my deal breakers is
Right.
I don't like. I tell people from the get go, my thing is smells. Like I don't do odors. Like I'm very meticulous about. No, I'm just being
Yes.
completely honest. Like I guess I get that from my mom. So she used to like, ooh, you just woke up. Yeah, mom, go brush your teeth. Like you ain't finna have no take your breath around this. So now I have that. I have that as well. Like so, I'm really big on things of that nature. It may sound weird, but tell that person. Why do I have to pretend to be something else? Like, hey, listen, this is my deal breaker. This is another deal breaker. You may end up finding out while you're talking about these things, they end up having the same issues, or they may have something that you didn't think of. So I don't think that, I don't think there's anything too early to talk about. Like, just be.
Date's over. right. I ain't gonna be able to deal with it. You smell like outside. You smell like French fries.
But if the vibe is there and they musty, you give them another chance.
If the vibe is there and they're musty, you
might be able to give them another chance, but I doubt it though.
If you musty on the first date, that's not by accident. That's normal chemistry. No. That's normal.
Well, I mean, meet and greet. I just stopped by after the gym just so I could just chop it up with you right quick.
Yeah, you got to know the situation though. But just don't be afraid to ask. Like, did you just come here musty, or did you get off work or something?
Do you live like this?
Right. Ask them. You never know. They might be like, "Ooh, I'm sorry. I just, went running. You know what I'm saying, and dropped the kids off. I didn't have time." Okay, cool. I'll excuse it this time.
I might say that because I'm not very good at holding my tongue.
Yeah.
Oh God.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Like, don't be afraid to, say what you feel. Like be authentically you from the beginning. Like, you don't have to be like, oh man, my deal breaker is what. We'll just discuss that at a later time and date. Like, no, talk about it now, because you never know. Somebody may have something that they're 100% solid on that they can't break for you.
That's true.
Yeah. Like, is there a Julian also wants to know, is there such thing as being too picky?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You think so?
Yes, yeah, you can definitely.
You think so?
I just asked, do you think so? How is that a problem? I'm not saying I'm too picky. I'm just asking.
You can have a type,
right?
I know what my type is. Yeah. I know what I like. I know, like, I'm from the South. So I like a little thicker, a little taller. But the person I'm dating, they're short. They're a little bit more slender. But the thing is, how does she, like I said, the vibration is everything. How is she? How does she treat me? How does she speak to me? So does she make me want to be a better man? Right. Is she an inspiration for me? Because a lot of times you can look over those things if that person has the qualities that you need and not just the things that you want. See, there's a difference.
Do you think people get caught up in the things that, they want, or the things they think is important, like, like you said, the list and things of that nature, what their friends say, what their family's going to say, how they look together? Do you think people get caught up in too much superficial issues and miss out on, a good man or a good woman?
All the time. I think one of the funniest posts I've seen on social media was it was just like, you want a man that's 6'3", but your dad was 5'7". Humble yourself. And it is true. Because the biggest thing is, like I said, we look too much at the outside. I'll be honest, I know people who would only date people of being light skinned because they want lighter babies. Because they feel that lighter babies are more attractive. People have so many quirks. I mean, I try to be honest about things. Have so many quirks that they don't want to talk about. And it's because it's an insecurity within you. The reality is, if you're secure with who you are and you know that you've met somebody that just treats you like royalty, nothing else matters. You ain't worried about what y'all look like on, Facebook or to other people. But that comes from, like I said, being a real person too. I don't think there's a lot of real, genuine people out there. We live in a society of, like I said, it's just trying to keep it up with the Joneses.
Right. And so, all right. So with that being said, there's a lot of people that be like, well, I can't date a man that has potential at this point in time in my life. He needs to already be set with what he's gonna be. So I'm not gonna call out no ages, but actually, what age? I asked Sway, what age what age do you stop dating a guy that has potential to be something great?
You mean
or for you?
You mean what's the cutoff? Like, do I feel like once he's 30, he should have it together? You trying to cut up?
30, 35, 42, whatever.
That's a good question. I don't have an answer for that. I never really discussed. I mean, I prefer not to date, men in their 20s at this point in my life.
No,
so I don't know.
That. But let's just say
I never thought about that. That's a good question. I never thought about that. So I meet a guy and he's 40 and he's still working on it.
Yeah, is that what you're saying? He's still working on it.
What are we still working on? What are we doing in the meantime while we're still working on it?
I don't know if he might be working on his credit. He might be working on a screenplay.
Okay, everybody's working on their credit, so
he might be working on building his business. He's just not there yet. So right now, he does have a 540 credit score. He does have a business plan that hasn't come to fruition,
and he's putting things in order and he's making moves and he's working every day to get to that goal. See, you can have a goal and you can have a aim for something that you're trying to achieve, but there's a difference between people that are actually putting the work in motion to achieve those things and the person who is still just saying it and reading it and showing it on their notebook to you, and you don't see him get up and you don't do anything. You have to pay attention, because this is my thing. Consistency is everything for me. Now that's one of my non-negotiables is consistency. So the things that you tell me, they need to line up with your actions. Don't feed me one thing, but your actions does not reflect any of that.
How long do you give them?
What do you mean, how long do I give them?
I
do have short patience.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
I do have short patience. I have short patience for things that are not lining up or not adding up in inconsistency. I have short patience for those things. I'm not saying I see you moving. I see you doing things, and I see you, working on whatever it is you need to work on. And I'm not saying I have, short patience for that. If you working on something, I can ride with you, because at one point I'm working on something. I'm working on something now. I think we're all working on something if you always want to grow and be better. So we're always working on something.
I agree with you there. I think one of the biggest things is, one thing that keeps a lot of men from committing in relationships is financial issues. No man wants to be able to say, nah, baby, I can't do this right now, or we'll have to wait on it. It's a pride thing for most.
It's a pride thing.
So, but the problem is a lot of women don't accept that either. So it was funny. I think this is a really great conversation to go into, because a lot of men feel like they purchased their women. It's just well, nobody would date me when I didn't have this, that, and the other. So therefore once I got on, the woman that I'm dating now is just I kind of, you have to do what I say and do all of these things. So that's why I say, dating that list. Like I said, I agree with you 100%. If somebody is showing you that they're working towards something, because we're always going to be in transition in life. That's the biggest thing. Everything in life is going to be transition. I'm going through a transition now as well. I'm working on things as well. So it's going to happen. There's never going to be the perfect moment to date someone. It's man, I got my credit together. I got a good job. I got this. But then you have all those things together. But what about your at-home skills? Do you cook? Do you clean up after yourself? Do you know how to actually communicate with a person? Like I said, it's so many levels to everything. So you could be transitioning into another point. All right, I want a relationship. Now I got to learn how to be in a relationship, because there's a difference. A lot of that comes from not necessarily biting your tongue, but learning how to get along with somebody that you're living with, or, intend on being with.
Right.
So, so like you said, actions show everything.
Right, man. And it's funny. We just talked about how people get looked at differently, because we was talking about how nobody was checking for James Brown, Thurgood Marshall, and Jackie Robinson, but T'Challa was ain't too much you can't touch up right now.
Right. But like I said, it's everybody goes with the trend. I think that because it's the same thing. What's the other guy that was in Black Panther? Everybody was just crazy over now. He was in the movie Us.
Erica was talking about M'Baku.
Yeah. It's just but he's been in a couple other things. Nobody was checking for him before then. So now Well, if he gets somebody, or he attracts somebody now, would you think it'd be wrong if he's like, you know what, I know you're only here for this celebrity, you know? So like, I don't think there's a lot of times a relationship may be the same. It may be, it just depends on the individual, you know, because I know a lot of people when they get on, and that's women too, you know, like I said, that's one of the things when you talk to women, it's like, oh, he has to have this, that, and the other. Why? Because I've worked so hard to get all of the things that I have. So it's a vice versa. I think now we base so many things on materialistic things at this point.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And social media, I think, adds to that as well. The things that we, that we find, the things that we find value in. I think social media and just the status that you think you should be in, or the place you think you should be in life. I think all of that adds to, or equates to, you end up picking the wrong mate, and not really being real about who you are and what you like and your characteristics, and and really opening up. You will miss out on really having a good conversation with someone, and then you may miss out on that really true life partner if you're not really genuinely authentic and vulnerable. And that's for men and women. Vulnerable is not a word that's just geared towards females. It's a word that's geared towards male as well. And I'll admit for myself, in my past, I had a problem, or I had difficulty with being vulnerable. That's just something I just wasn't taught growing up. I had to unfortunately learn that as a grown woman, as I went through, different situations in life and relationships and things of that nature. I had to learn that vulnerability was not a sign of weakness, but, it's actually a sign of strength. So,
of course. Jason, are you vulnerable?
Hey man, I'm married, man. I ain't got no choice. I had no choice. Like there was a level of vulnerability that I had to have, just in order to let her in. Just because I know what it was back then. It was like, hey, I had a mission. That mission was to conquer, and it wasn't that with her. But it's just one of those things. Like, there had to be a level of maturity that took place in order for that to no longer be the mission. And after that stopped being the mission, like I'm able to move on and do different things. And
so, what do you feel is the key to success in your marriage at this point?
You know what, man? We talked about a whole lot of stuff. So the communication was always strong for us. Now, that does not always equal understanding, which a lot of people mistake. Like, just because you're communicating don't mean that the other person always understands what you're trying to say.
I agree with what you're saying.
And so, or agree. And so that part for us, like, we understand that there are situations where we're just not going to agree. And, it's how you deal with that disagreements right there is how you move forward. And so, like I said, I think it was a good time for both of us, how everything played out. Because I do feel like had we been together starting off in the same country starting off, that probably, outside of us meeting, that probably wouldn't have been fully beneficial, or we probably wouldn't be where we are now. And just to be completely honest, just because before I left, I was just getting out of a conquering stage, but not fully out. Like I was still a Mac at the time, but I was like, hey, let me get to know this one. I want to get to know her, and so not being able to have that physical right there all the time, that helped.
That forced you to have to find things to talk, conversation, be vulnerable, be open, because you're not in the same country.
Yeah, it was a lot of talking. It was a lot of talking.
Right.
It was a lot of finding out what you liked and what you didn't like, and how you dealt with stuff. And I've never been the one that attack people in the moment, like as far as like, hey, stuff that I don't like, because there's a whole bunch of stuff on the screen on the TV that people do, and you can gauge how they react to it. So hey, are you crazy? Like, you think that any of this stuff that Celebrity X is doing on this show, you rock with that? Because if they rock with it, like, she should be busting windows and flattening tires. Oh, this ain't gonna work.
This ain't gonna work.
This ain't gonna work. But I mean, like I said, it was a ton of conversations, tons and tons of conversations, and hell, there was times. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this though. So I had this conversation. I just want to see what you guys think about it. Do you think having a hoe phase is healthy?
Yeah. Yeah, you need
Did
that.
you say? I'm sorry. Did you say whole phase?
No, a whole phase. Yes.
I just want to make sure I understood your question.
Whole phase.
A whole phase. Okay, got you.
Now it's gonna be a bunch of women that's not gonna answer this honestly.
Yeah, it's funny because like I do a lot of like talking to like a lot of groups and things of that nature, and it's just funny because I mentioned that to me. I was like, you guys think having a whole phase is and everybody's like, oh no, I just know what. I think everybody needs that phase in life of where and it's not necessarily just being a hoe. I just say that because it's just funny. But the reality is having a phase of being free in life.
Right.
Just like literally just doing what you want to do, no restrictions,
right.
no
one to answer
no self-judgment. Right.
A moment where you can be selfish and it's okay.
Hey, Mark, watch this.
Hit the bell for me, Jason.
I don't know what he
Boom! I ain't even do it. Hey, you know what? I tell you what, it is.
So let's rephrase it then. A free spirit phase. Have you had your free spirit phase yet?
I think that's important for people to go through that phase. Yeah.
I like how you didn't answer that like a boxer.
Yeah, no. We're talking about you, Miss White. Yes.
You're talking specific. This question is directed to me.
Yes.
Yeah. I think you should have a phase where you, like you said, you're. Hello, don't
once
ring the
again.
bell. Don't ring the bell.
Once again.
I'm repeating what Marcus said. Marcus said. You said just a phase where you don't have to answer to anybody. You don't have to answer any questions. You just are free with yourself. I do like the stage. I'm single right now, and I don't answer to anybody. If I call, I call. If I don't, I don't. I mind my own business. I don't like questions being asked to me. I'm minding my own business right now, and I have to say that this has been the most. Because I'm usually always in a relationship. So this has been the most uncomfortable with getting comfortable of just being by myself in a city with no family. I'm here by myself. So on top of not having, I have support, but my mom is not 10 minutes away anymore. My sister's not 10 minutes away. I'm here in Atlanta by myself. Went through a divorce in Atlanta by myself. This has been the most trying, comfortable time, and where I thought about just going back home, I said no, I'm going to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I have gotten used to just being on my own and being selfish, and I use that term not in a being selfish sometimes I think is good. I think it just has given me the time.
You have to be selfish in order to be selfless.
Exactly. And I think that when people get out of one relationship, whether it's a relationship, whatever kind of relationship it is, and you jump into another one, you don't give yourself that time to, whether it's grieve or heal or whether it's whatever it is. I think you need that time, and I've been taking that time for myself these last 3 years. And I have to say, in the beginning, it looks like, what in the heck am I doing? This is difficult. This is hard. But having that free spirit time to myself has been good, has been quality. I now see the silver lining in the process.
Y'all got 2 minutes to shoot y'all shot. Just shoot y'all shot Monday. Sway is single AF 470-251-4343. Shoot your shot. She said a few shows ago that it was dry. So go ahead and shoot your shot. Let's go. You got 2 minutes to shoot your shot. Hey, Mark, tell everybody where they can get this book, man.
Oh man, you can go to Amazon just Google the 4 Laws of Attracting the Perfect Relationship. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. You can follow me at The Real Marcus Dwayne, and also my other platform on social media, Mask Media LLC, on Instagram and Twitter.
All right, that's what's up, man. Look, and it's not an expensive book. Go ahead and get it, man. It's going to help change your life. If you need to learn about yourself, go get this book. If you need to learn how to find the perfect relationship for you, go get this book. If you already in a relationship and you need to know how to make this thing last, go get this book. If you got an ugly coworker, go get this book.
The ugly coworker can do anything.
Everybody got one, so go get this book.
You know, sometimes it'll make them a little less ugly when they get somebody. You know, they don't get on your nerves at that point.
You know why is that? Why people are just so unattractive single, and they get a man or a woman, all of a sudden they're attractive, and now people are checking for them. That's just
what?
I don't understand it.
I think what it is that people don't want to work for things. Like being in a relationship, like going through the phases of like learning how to live together, learning how to be together. If you see somebody that's already on that phase and already have that mindset, at that point, it's just a little bit easier. I think that's why a lot of people go for that. It's just like, especially not necessarily men, but women more than anything. Like, girl, he's already in a relationship. They kind of have that mindset. He's already trained. He already knows how to treat a woman, all this other stuff. Let me go get him.
But he's in a relationship. I never understood that. If he's already someone else and you see him and now you want him and he's someone else, if he leaves that person for you, don't you think he's going to do the same to you?
I mean, but Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats are working out pretty well right now. So, everybody got a love story.
Everybody got a love story.
I mean, it's working for, some people it works for. Honestly, nobody can put it like this. Whenever I'm in a relationship, I say this: I'm never worried about my woman. The reason being is if you can take her, she ain't mine.
She ain't yours anyway.
She wasn't mine to begin with.
Right.
So the reality is when people are in those situations and they leave, a lot of times they didn't want to be there in the first place, so they just weren't happy. So nobody can just take something that's yours. Period. So if you own it, you can always go, like your car, somebody can steal your car, but you can always go get it back. My point is nobody can take what's yours. Right. If you're happy and you're doing the things that you want to do, you ain't never got to worry about your mate. But the reality is if there are things that are lacking, like I said, if they want to go somewhere else, let them. Like they weren't yours to begin with. Why fight for somebody who don't want you?
Exactly. Someone who don't want to be there.
All facts. And that's a word to leave out on. Like, Mark, man, we appreciate you coming through.
Hey, man, appreciate you guys, man.
Hey, man. Like I said, go get this book. If you got family members with receding hairlines, go get this book. Hey, now we appreciate y'all, man. We will be back. What's today? If you back on the 29th. Out here. We're going to talk about Male Groupies on the 29th.
Eventually.
Eventually. We're going to get to it. We just go ahead and push that back because that's always going to be a topic right there. But yeah, we appreciate it. Everybody go ahead and follow Marcus Dwayne, the real Marcus Dwayne. Like I said, go get this book. So you got anything you want to plug?
No, thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. And thank you, Marcus, for your time tonight. It's been very insightful. Thank you very much.
Hey, it's not too late to share this feed either because there's a lot of people out here that need this information. So go ahead and share this feed if you hadn't already done it. If you don't,
you're a punk.
I'm not going to say that. We appreciate you for tuning in anyway. Until next time, y'all be safe out in these streets. Appreciate you, brother.
Have a good week.
Peace.